Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello, guys. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to Prime Minister's Questions. Let me just get the setup there. It is, I'm losing my brain. It is the 7th of May 2025 at 12 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite and on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, share, subscribe, all that usual stuff on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, hit the follow button and the bell notification icon so when I go live there. DJ Marty Moo, good to see you there on the Twitch chat. Hope you're doing well. And Doris Neck as well, good to see you there. Good afternoon to you. Let's just switch it over right there. I think we're right about
question.
Ready to start.
Question number one, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Rising tensions between India and Pakistan will be of serious concern for many across Britain. We are engaging urgently with both countries, as well as other international partners, encouraging dialogue, de-escalation and the protection of civilians. Mr. Speaker, Britain will fall silent tomorrow to mark the anniversary of VE Day. It is a day to remember our greatest generation, whose courage and selflessness won a victory over tyranny and evil. Past and present, the service of our armed forces defends our freedom, protects the values that we stand for, and makes this country so proud. Mr. Speaker, the landmark deal we've secured with India is a huge win for working people in this country. After years of negotiation, this government has delivered in months, slashing tariffs, boosting wages, unleashing opportunities for UK businesses. It's the biggest trade deal the UK has delivered since we left the EU. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
We'll carry on in just a moment. Just want to say thank you, Alistair Kidd. Good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. All hail Democratic Penguins Republic with a £2 super chat. Thank you so much for your support. Much appreciated. And for the 5 gifted memberships, looks like only 4 went through there. To Nature's Admirer, Sergey Mirkak, Alan Beeston, and David Gerardo, they have all been given memberships there. Thank you so much for those, my friend. Much appreciated. Just quickly on the tension, the situation over in Kashmir between Pakistan and India, it could kick off. I don't know if it's really going to escalate into nuclear war because both sides have nuclear weapons. But there is going to be skirmishes. There is going to be fighting. The problem is we don't have an American leader who's willing to actually de-escalate the situation. My hope is that China will de-escalate the situation, or the European Union will find ways to try and calm tensions, because we need somebody to help de-escalate the situation, because it really is really bad at the moment over there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In 2018, my constituent Richard Wellington was diagnosed with a glioblastoma and given just 12 months to live. Against the odds, he's still with us today. He knows his time is limited, however, and is determined to leave a legacy by improving brain cancer treatment for others. His courage is inspiring and shows extraordinary resilience. But, Mr. Speaker, patients with brain tumours fell through the cracks in our healthcare system under the Conservatives, and this must end. Will the Prime Minister set out how Labour will speed up cancer diagnosis and improve treatment times for brain tumour patients such as Richard as we go further with our plan for change?
What my heart goes out to the individual here. I really does. That's gives despite the fact that time is very short on the side, but this is obviously something very serious for many people who suffer from this, and I really hope, I really do hope that the NHS does improve under Labour. Whatever you think of Labour, whatever you think of their government, we want people's lives to improve. I think that's the most important thing there. It's a tax cuts for Indian employees and companies. It is, but I think in terms of the India trade deal, which I know Kemi's going to throw the kitchen sink at him over the immigration thing. Apparently, I really do encourage people to watch Max Robespierre's video he's done on the India trade deal, because it really does open your eyes to a lot of things. before jumping the gun saying it's the same thing as Kemi Bagnot still. It's not. It's not. So I do recommend, do check it out, Max Robespierre's video on the India trade deal. It's not open borders allowing loads of Indians in. That's the impression you get. That's not actually what it says on the paper. But it's interpreted that that is what is happening, and that is not the case. So, like I say, I do check out Max Robespierre's video on it. And I'm sure Phil will do a breakdown debunking that it's open borders for Indians as well on that situation there. You know, things are screwed when China are now the peacemakers. Yeah, unfortunately, I was listening to Vosh's live stream last night because he was covering it live as it was happening. And yeah, everyone was saying, like, China are going to have to be the peacemakers because Trump was not very, his comments on it, because he was asked about it, and it was just like, yeah, it's been going on for a long, long time, the tension between the two countries. I was like, you what? Yeah, I do recommend checking out Max Robespierre's video on it, because, like, I understand why people are critical of it on paper, but yeah, do read the fine detail, guys. Do read the fine detail. Even the BBC have done a pretty comprehensive, better breakdown on it as well. I do recommend. So, what you hear from Kemi is going to be used. It's going to be used as a political football in these questions, just for reference. But anyways, let's go back to PMQs.
Mr. Speaker, can I send my best wishes, and I'm sure of the House, to Richard and to every family living with cancer for their courage and fortitude. Can I also pay tribute to my honourable friend for Mitcham and Morden, for her work to raise awareness of the devastating impact of brain cancer. I'm really proud that our plan for change has already delivered faster diagnosis for more than 80,000 cancer patients. We're rolling out Cancer 360, Mr. Speaker. That's groundbreaking new technology that will slash treatment delays across the NHS, investing in more scanners, surgical hubs and radiotherapy machines. It's important work that is only happening because of our decision to make a record investment in the NHS, opposed by every other party.
Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I echo the Prime Minister's comments? It was an honour to meet veterans at the VE Day parade on Monday and to commemorate the sacrifice of that generation. I look forward to marking VE Day at Westminster Abbey tomorrow. Does the Prime Minister now admit that he was wrong to remove the winter fuel payment from millions of pensioners?
Minister.
The easy and obvious answer is yes. But are we going to get that from him? No.
Mr. Speaker, the number one job of this government was to put our finances back in order after the last government lost control. That is, and to deal with the 22 billion black hole that they left. Because of our action, we've stabilised the economy, we've invested record amounts in the NHS, with a payment out for the 3 million lowest paid, and of course we're committed to the triple lock, which improved pensions by £470 last year. And Mr. Speaker, because of the work that we've done, we're a country that countries like India want to do deals with because of the messages and the work that we've done.
That didn't really answer the question there, to be fair, Prime Minister. But okay, let's just go along with it. Thank you, Alistair Keir, for the £1 super chat. Much appreciated, my friend.
Mr. Speaker, the only black hole is the one the Prime Minister is digging. This issue affects some of the poorest and most vulnerable pensioners. His mayor in Doncaster says it's wrong. His First Minister in Wales says it's wrong. Even his own MPs are saying it's wrong. He's refused to listen to me on this. Will he at least listen to his own party and change course?
Mr. Speaker, let's spell this out. All the parties opposite would take this country back to where it was a few years ago. Broken public finances, interest rates through the roof, NHS waiting lists at all-time high. Because no other party in this House is prepared to say how they would put the finances straight. No other party is saying how they would invest in our NHS and public services. No other party is focused on the long-term prosperity of Britain.
That's wrong, and the Green parties have set out in their manifesto, and you can go onto their website that explains how they would pay for their policies and where they would get the public money from. It's really not that hard. If you you know, he's absolutely lying when he says the other parties don't have plans. The Green Party's policies are very clear, and how they would pay for that policies are also very clear on their website. Go to thegreenparty.com, go look. It's a simple, less than 2 minutes to Google it, and it will tell you where they get the funds yet for some of their policies. Very short and sweet. I can't speak for Lib Dems, and I would not recommend getting behind the Lib Dems, and same with Reform. And the Conservatives, well, we know where they are. But yeah, it's not true that the Greens don't have their numbers in check. That's just wrong.
No one on this side, Mr. Speaker, is denying how big the challenge is that we face, but no one on that side of the House is even prepared to take those challenges on.
Mr. Speaker, we wouldn't balance it on the backs of pensioners.
That's true.
Pensioners...
Well, not for the Conservatives, but for the Greens. But yeah, I would not be doing this on the back of them.
Are poorer and colder because of his decisions. All the while, energy has got more expensive for everyone. Why has the Prime Minister broken his promise to cut energy bills by £300?
This is definitely this is where Kemi can shine with the attacks on bills. The attacks on increases in energy bills. Now, yes, the Prime Minister will hit back and saying what you guys were doing the last 14 years. But she needs to do something, that is for sure.
Mr. Speaker, the way to bring energy bills down for good is to deliver cheap, clean, homegrown energy. And in the meantime, we've extended the Warm Homes discount to 6 million households, 1 in 5 families. That's £150 off the bills next winter. But what won't bring energy bills down is the Leader of the Opposition's policy, leaving us hooked on fossil fuels at the mercy of dictators like Putin. I'll tell you what else won't bring bills down. It's them blocking every infrastructure that's needed in their own backyards. They balance the books, they crash the economy on the backs of millions of working people in this country. That's why they delivered the verdict they did at the last general election.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister talks about clean energy. We have the second highest amount of renewables on the grid in Europe, and yet we still have the highest energy bills. This is not about clean energy. The Prime Minister has broken another promise. He won't admit it, but isn't the truth that he can't cut energy bills because of his net zero policy?
It's got nothing to do with the net zero policy. It's because we rely too much on fossil fuel and oil and gas, and we haven't transitioned enough. And over the 14 years, you guys haven't done anywhere near enough of transitioning us. There's literally graphs out there that show the comparison of us compared to other European countries where they've made massive investment in green energy, where their bills have significantly been reduced. And on top of that, our energy companies are privatised. If they were nationalised, our bills would be much lower as well.
The energy bills on fossil fuel have fluctuated massively in the last 3 years because we're exposed to the international market.
Yes.
The only way to get bills down is to go to renewable energy. It's something she used to believe in, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, the reason that she used to believe it, guys, is because she got thrown a huge amount of money from climate skeptics saying you need to push us away from net zero policy. A lot of companies, allegedly, fossil fuel and oil and gas companies, through a sort of donation or think tank or whatever, have driven money towards Kemi and basically said, drive us against net zero, push it down, put in the skepticism. And that's why she's taken the position that she has taken. But there's a lot of people in the Conservative Party who are not against net zero, who are for net zero, and are just simply towing the line.
Mr. Speaker, I've got the Shadow Chancellor here, his previous words. Net zero, the shift must happen now as a matter of urgency. His words, it's no longer an environmental issue. Energy independence should be reviewed as part of our national security. He must have our lines, I think, Mr. Speaker. But what about the Leader of the Opposition herself? This is what she said. We believe that green trade and investment will be the future-proofing force that will help us create better tomorrow. and then she went on to say this, Mr. Speaker. It's long-term investment in nuclear and renewables that will reduce our dependencies on fossil fuels and keep down consumer costs. Now, she's got a reputation apparently for straight talking. She was right then, wasn't she?
Okay, I thought maybe Kemi might have a good one here, might do well, you know, and whatnot. No, she's done shit. She's dead. She's dead already, guys. She's dead already. I'll tell you what, that was very good from Labour. Yeah, you say whatever you like. That is absolute killing. That's killer for Kemi. Oh dear.
Mr. Speaker, this approach to net zero is irrational. It's doomed to fail. Those aren't my words, they're Tony Blair's. He wants to throw words back, he should speak to him. But the truth is, the Prime Minister is on another planet. His net zero plans mean ever more expensive energy. Across the country, jobs are disappearing. Last week, a ceramics factory in Stoke closed because of energy costs. This morning, 250 more job losses have been announced in the North Sea. And yet, the amount of gas the UK is importing is doubling. So why is he shutting down the North Sea rather than getting our oil and gas out of the ground and making energy cheaper?
Mr. Speaker, as I've said many times, oil and gas will be part of the mix for many decades to come. But net zero, Mr. Speaker, is an opportunity to be seized. We've had over £43 billion invested since July of last year in clean energy.
What about all those job losses that Kemi has just mentioned? Are you not going to acknowledge any of that? That's very worrying indeed, guys, isn't it?
That's good for the economy, good for business, good for jobs, apprentices and growth. Mr. Speaker, the global race is on for the jobs of the future, and I believe Britain can win that race. The leader of the opposition, I don't think, is yet a climate denier, but she's a climate defeatist. She doesn't believe in Britain's ability to win the race for our economy, businesses and jobs. And that they've never backed Britain. There's nothing patriotic about that.
Mr. Speaker, he's got no answer, but he couldn't even bring himself to say something. He couldn't even bring himself to say something to the 250 people who found out that they lost their job this morning. The fact is, pensioners are poorer and people are being laid off. From winter fuel to net zero, his energy policy is a disaster and everyone knows it. We know it, the public know it, the unions know it, his MPs know it, even Tony Blair knows it. His only answer is to go further and faster in the wrong direction. Why should we all suffer because he won't admit he has got this wrong?
Mr. Speaker, of course nobody wants to see job losses, but she should address her comments to the tens of thousands of men and women in this country working on renewables for the future of our country and tell them that she doesn't want that. That is anti-growth, anti-jobs and anti-working people. But every week, Mr. Speaker, she comes along to talk the country down, to cart from the sidelines. She can't even bring herself to celebrate the deal we've done with India. They took 8 years fiddling around and got absolutely nothing. We've delivered the best deal since we left the EU, the most ambitious deal for India, which has been measured in billions of pounds into our economy and thousands of jobs in the country. She should be welcoming that.
That deal won't we won't see the positives of that until 2040, just for reference, in case anyone's wondering on that. Kemi is obsessed with the new energy. Yeah, because you have to remember, guys, Kemi is being paid by climate skeptics to deny net zero. She's being paid by lobbyists. That's why her position has changed. She's been offered huge amounts of money to change. And it won't be long before the Conservative Party will be fully anti-climate skeptics. Because they're going to continue to throw money at them. That's what's going to happen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. UK automotive faces major challenges, and Trump's tariffs are the latest crisis to hit the industry. Investment and jobs are now on the line, from Mini to McLaren, Aston Martin, Jaguar Land Rover, and many others. Will the Prime Minister continue to make their case in his talks with the US regime and remain a champion for this vital sector, unlike the Honourable Member for Clacton, who believes that Jaguar deserves to go bust?
I've never heard Nigel Farage actually state that, but That's quite a statement to make in the House of Commons there.
Mr. Speaker, he makes a very good point. We are backing British car companies like JLR, and our India trade deal will see tariffs slashed for car sales, and that is good for British jobs. And the criticism on the double taxation is incoherent nonsense. It's a benefit to working people. It's in the agreements that we've already got with 50 other countries. And if the member for Clacton or the Leader of the Opposition is seriously suggesting that they're going to tear up agreements with 50 other countries, create a massive hole in our economy, they should get up and they should say so.
Leader of the Liberal Democrats, Ed Davey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As we celebrate 80 years since Britain led our allies to victory over fascism, can I, on behalf of the Liberal Democrats, pay tribute to all those who struggled and sacrificed so much for our freedoms today? And can I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks about the conflict in Kashmir, and with him urge restraint and de-escalation on both sides? Mr. Speaker, among the messages voters sent ministers last week, one stood out: bring back the winter fuel payment for millions of struggling pensioners. So people will be disappointed the Prime Minister failed to do that today. Mr. Speaker, he says he wants to go further and faster to clean up the mess left by the Conservatives. But on social care, so crucial for our NHS, he's going slower and slower. Not only will the Casey Commission take 3 years, we learnt on Friday the government plans to take an extra 7 years to implement it, not till 2036. So will the Prime Minister rip up that timetable, make sure he doesn't repeat the mess made by the Conservatives, and get on with fixing social care this year?
Yeah, the reason why he got haggled consistently in the last 3 quarters of his question there was because the Liberal Democrats were in bed with the Conservatives on some of those decisions that were made. So it's very hypocritical for Ed Davey to pin everything on the Conservatives, because the first 5 years was a coalition. Let us never forget that. The Liberal Democrats must take their fair share of blame on that, and that should not be forgotten. Okay.
Mr. Speaker, as he knows, we're taking this in 2 stages. We are already taking measures to increase the support for social care, quite right too, and doing the long work to reform and make sure we put a system in place. But can I just say to him once again, he comes here every week saying we should spend more money, and he comes here at the same time saying he doesn't want to pay for any of the measures to raise that money. That is nonsense.
Sir Ed Davey.
Mr. Speaker, I'm disappointed with that answer, and I will keep coming back to hold the Prime Minister to account. Mr. Speaker, people also want a government that will stand up for our country against Donald Trump. Mr. Speaker, first he came for our steelworkers and our car makers with his outrageous tariffs. Now Donald Trump is coming for our world-leading British film industry. So will the Prime Minister work with our allies in Europe and in the Commonwealth and make clear to President Trump that if he picks a fight with James Bond, Bridget Jones and Paddington Bear, he will lose?
I like the way he put it.
Mr. Speaker, he really should listen to the sectors that he thinks he's championing. They do not want us to abandon the work we're doing to try and get an agreement with America. They want that agreement to reduce tariffs. That's the sensible, pragmatic way to protect our national interest. It is not sensible or pragmatic to choose between the US and the EU, to abandon the work we're doing on trade with the US and leave the tariffs exactly where they are. That's the most damaging thing that could possibly be done.
Let me just, again, I need to clarify this, because I know, I get how people feel about Keir Starmer not being on the same level as Mark Carney, on his attitude and his position. I get that, and I totally understand people's frustrations with that, and I absolutely I really do understand why people are frustrated about that, because he comes across as weak, and he does come across as weak with some of it, with it all. And obviously that first meeting between them at the White House when Trump became president was very, very bad indeed. But I also agree with the Prime Minister's position on not dropping everything with America. And I agree, and I think it's wrong for us to even do so. Yes, Trump is a loose cannon. Yes, Trump can change things at a whim. Yes, it would. Yes, it is. It is a risk. I understand the risk, guys. But I have to stress this, guys. We are so embedded into America. It's not possible for us to untangle that. There are so many things, so many departments and organizations that Britain and America share, not just on a military level, not just on an agency level, but across a wider range of organizations and departments. So much of that we are embedded into. It's not just a case of we can switch off and disconnect. It's just not possible for us to do that. And I understand why people feel that Keir Starmer shouldn't be pursuing this deal. I understand that, and I totally get the frustration over it, that he's not being strong enough on this. And I agree he should be more stronger on Trump. But at the same time, he doesn't, like, our economy is much, much more fragile at the moment in comparison to Canada. In comparison to a lot of other countries, our economy is very fragile. We're not doing well at all. We are in a cost of living crisis. Everyone will agree with me. We are in a cost of living crisis. It's a struggle right now. And the last thing that Keir Starmer wants to do is to do something that will mean us paying more for a living as a direct result of him saying something or doing something that will anger Donald Trump, that makes us pay more. So I get that point. So I understand the frustration, I understand the anger, and I hate this position. I hate this position too. But we can't just detach ourselves from America, guys. It's just not possible for us to do so. The Prime Minister, in my opinion, is right to try and stick to this position until it becomes untenable, and we have not reached that point. Until it becomes untenable, this is exactly the position he should take. And I totally am concerned about the film industry, the British film industry, as well as all film industries, as an attack by Trump on it. It's absolutely insane. I'm not saying to drop anything. I want a leader to hold Trump to account. I want him to hold him to account too. But I also don't want us being slapped with massive tariffs that are going to make our lives, my life, your life, everybody in the UK's lives worse off as well. That's what I don't want. Because, yeah, you have to... We are already struggling. Okay, there are lots of people in the UK already struggling. Yeah, lots of us are already struggling. And do you really want us to be, people to be worse off by pissing off the Orange Man? I don't. I don't like it. I don't like this situation any more than any of you guys. I really don't. But I don't want to do anything that's going to cause them to make even more harm to us. I get the frustration. I really do, guys. I really, really do.
Jack Abbott.
For the House, it's my register of interest. Mr. Speaker, for young people in Ipswich, there is no shortage of ambition, just a need for greater opportunities. And that's why last autumn I was proud to sign an agreement with Sizewell C, guaranteeing 500 jobs for people in my town, alongside additional investment for Suffolk New College's courses on welding, engineering and fabrication, so kids in my town can access the well-paid, secure skills jobs on offer. So therefore, can I urge the Prime Minister to support a final investment decision for Sizewell C, not just for our country's energy security, but also for the once-in-a-generation opportunities for young people in Ipswich and Suffolk?
Well, Mr. Speaker, it's good to see a local Labour MP fighting for jobs in his constituency and achieving excellent results. Mr. Speaker, we will make our final investment decision at the spending review, something the party opposite failed to deliver in 14 years. We're unashamedly pro-nuclear, pro-growth and pro-jobs. That's why we're making it easier to build small modular reactors and scrapping absurd rules that left vital projects tangled up in needless paperwork. We're doing the work that they failed to do in 14 years.
Stephen Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Prior to the election, the Prime Minister promised that energy bills would come down. They continue to rise. He promised that he would save the refinery at Grangemouth. It's shut, and of course he promised that he would unleash a generation of secure energy jobs in my city of Aberdeen. Well, today, Harbour Energy, the largest independent player in the North Sea, have announced that they are about to shed their workforce by 25%. That's 250 jobs in my constituency gone in the blink of his eye. And do you know who they blame, Mr. Speaker? They blame the policies of the Labour Party. So can I ask the Prime Minister, in fact, can I invite the Prime Minister to come to Aberdeen and explain to my constituents why he is willing to move heaven and earth to save jobs in Scunthorpe while destroying jobs in Scotland?
Great question.
Mr. Speaker, nobody wants to see job losses, but I'd remind the right honourable member that before we came into office 10 months ago, the SNP government in Holyrood, alongside the Conservative government, did absolutely nothing for projects like Groundnut. Absolutely nothing. In Grangemouth, we have committed £200 million to secure the future for the site, delivered a £100 million deal. We're helping with the training guarantees that are needed. But just like his First Minister, the Honourable he'll raise anything to distract from their disastrous record. Almost 1 in 6 Scots stuck on an NHS waiting list, standards and violence in Scottish schools, over £1 billion cut from local government. We gave them the biggest settlement since devolution. They've been in power for nearly 2 decades. They've got absolutely nowhere to hide their appalling record.
Yeah. Well, what have you done? You couldn't answer the question. All you did was bash Scotland. You couldn't answer the question, and he pointed it out so freakingly obviously. You saved Scunthorpe. Why not? Why not industries in Scotland? Why not industries in Scotland?
We should struggle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I thank the Prime Minister for recently visiting the now royal port of Barrow in my constituency to lay the keel for the new Dreadnought-class submarines recently. He will have seen how proud we are to build our nuclear deterrent, which keeps us safe. As we move forward with our plans for change, does the Prime Minister agree with me that Barrow and Furness can provide a blueprint for the whole country with defence investment, creating jobs, growth and prosperity in communities right across the UK?
She's absolutely right, Mr. Speaker. Royal Barrow is a model for how defence can be a catalyst for the skilled, well-paid jobs right across the United Kingdom. And I was proud and humbled to thank the crew of the Vanguard submarine returning home after months away, including 4 of those on board who are returning to their newborn children. That's the change that will come from spending 2.5% of GDP on defence for the first time since the last Labour government.
At the expense of foreign aid, where hundreds of thousands of starving children and innocent people across the world will now not have that food and will die off as a direct result of the cutting of foreign aid. That is the difference that this Labour government is making. Sorry, I just had to plug that in there to remind you guys that the increase in defence spending has come at the expense of foreign aid.
Extra investment in Barrow has been made possible by my honourable friend and this government because the party opposite made promises, but as usual, they never ever set the money aside.
Testament.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ahead of the 80th anniversary of VE Day, may I thank the Prime Minister for his government's recognition of the highly dangerous and clandestine work of the 1,746 pilots and navigators who form the RAF's photographic reconnaissance squadrons and the 635 Buckinghamshire-based photographic interpreters, often forgotten, by marking their service with a national memorial near the Churchill War Rooms. They had a near-death rate of 50% and only 2.5 months life expectancy. But they still captured 26 million images of enemy operations, providing daily up-to-date intelligence via the interpreters' analysis to the strategists in the Cabinet War Rooms for all our armed forces. I'd ask the Prime Minister to join me when this national memorial is unveiled to pay our respects to the likes of the late Captain Wilfred Bruce Tilley, DFC, of Axbridge in my constituency, and the other amazing young men and women whose work was so critical to the safety of millions of people in this country and elsewhere.
Why was there a phone ringing while I was trying to listen to that? And then people started talking. This is actually something I generally wanted to hear. I'm very disappointed that someone like these politicians, they know they're not supposed to have their phones sounds on. They're supposed to have them on vibration, for crying out loud. Oh my god. Like, I know VE Day's not interesting to you guys in the chat, but it's still important. It's still important. It's 80 years. It's still something that we should remember. And I just felt the timing was just so disrespectful. The only good thing about Prime Minister's questions is the cute dog that we see there, guys. Absolutely adorable.
Well, can I thank her for raising this really important issue? And I'm sure members across the House would support a memorial to the service and sacrifice of those veterans. The bravery and service of individuals like Captain Tilley and others in the photographic reconnaissance units and photographic interpreters saved the lives of many servicemen and servicewomen, and of course civilians, at the cost, as she rightly points out, of many casualties, in fact, of those units. So as we mark the 80th anniversary of VE Day, we will remember them who helped secure our greatest victory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the London Borough of Hackney spends £54 million a year and rising on temporary accommodation. Not only is this costing the taxpayer dear, but it's wrenching families apart, communities rent asunder, schools are closing, and families are living in hostels in overcrowded rooms or far-flung out of London. I welcome our pledge to build 1.5 million new homes. Will the Prime Minister reassure my constituents that social housing is a priority for him?
Well, she's absolutely right. Families are desperate for security of their own home, and we're delivering the biggest boost to affordable and social housing in a generation, backed by an additional £2 billion of investment. And that and our reforms will supply our ambitions to build 88,000 new homes across London, including in her constituency. Mr. Speaker, at the same time, we're tackling the root causes of homelessness and, of course, scrapping Section 21 evictions.
I really do hope they get on top of the housing, and I understand it's going to take time. I really do understand that the building of the homes is going to take time. We have to be patient on that. But we've got to get people out of these temporary accommodation. It's not good. She's absolutely right that more needs to be done on this. I really hope we see an improvement over this over the next few years, because it's really bad for people out there at the moment.
Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under the Conservatives, inequality has surged, with now over 14 million people, including 2,000 children in the South Cotswolds, now living in poverty, while the richest 1% see their incomes soar. Of the developed countries, we are now the 9th most unequal. Will the Prime Minister listen to the Liberal Democrats, the public and many of his own Labour backbenchers and commit to reversing changes such as PIP, the winter fuel allowance and two-child benefit cap, and introduce clear poverty reduction targets to ensure that any economic growth benefits those who need it most?
She's put it very well put in her question. Child poverty, obviously, as you guys know, is something that I'm very depressing to talk about. That the fact that we even have it in a country as rich as ours is very depressing, very sad indeed. And it needs to be challenged. It needs to be tackled. All those policies, yes, they should undo them. Labour should. Whether they will or not is another matter. I know he's not going to do that, and he's not going to remove the two-child benefit cap. And they keep saying they're waiting for the impact assessment, or they're doing an assessment into it, and it's just like, I really hope that whatever this the assessment and policy that comes out over the child poverty, that they actually do something about it rather than conducting this in the long term. But I feel like the longer this drags on, the more people are going to starve, people are going to struggle as a direct result of continuing to sit on this issue. And it's a shameful issue, the child poverty. And yes, it was started by the Conservatives. Let's be clear. It's been a lot worse by the Conservatives. But Labour really should have been stepping on the front foot with this.
Well, she's right to raise the appalling record of the last government, which saw 900,000 more children in poverty. Mr. Speaker, we're already delivering 750 free breakfast clubs, boosting the minimum wage for over 3 million. That's the lowest paid workers in our country. And the Child Poverty Task Force is looking at every lever that can be pulled.
I really, like I said, the Child Poverty Task Force, that's it, thank you, Prime Minister. I really actually hope that does come to fruition there. And as for the breakfast clubs, I've mentioned this before on PMQs, and I'll say it again, it should be extended to lunches and dinners, and and money should not be a factor when it comes to feeding children in the whole of the UK, not just England.
I'm very proud of the last Labour government's record on tackling poverty, and we'll continue to do that in this government.
Lynn Stewart.
Mr Speaker, last month's data showed the NHS lists in Wales fell by 3 months in a row. In England, the waiting lists have fallen by 6 months in a row. In Scotland, after nearly 20 years in charge, the SNP government have left our NHS on its knees. Instead, remarkable acts of charity from rock legend Rod Stewart are helping people to get the care they need. Will the Prime Minister agree with me that Scotland needs a new direction so that my constituents in Ayr, Carrick and Cumnock don't rely on charity for their health care?
This was pointless, this question.
Well, I thank her for raising this issue. The contrast, as she points out, is stark. In England and Wales, waiting lists are falling, with over 3 million extra appointments already delivered. In Scotland, the SNP they've just introduced, Mr. Speaker, their 5th NHS recovery plan in just 4 years. They've had the biggest budget settlement since devolution. Nearly 2 decades in power, they've still no idea how to fix the NHS, and they've run out of excuses.
John Burry.
Mr. Speaker, VE Day marked the end of horror in Europe, and afterwards our post-war expansion of welfare benefits was something truly principled from Labour. So, given the real fear felt by disabled people in Brighton Pavilion and across the nation, will the Prime Minister agree that now is the time to be principled again and restore their support, not make his MPs vote to restrict it?
Well, I thank her for raising the record of the post-war Labour government, a great reforming government. Mr. Speaker, the principles remain the same, which is those that need support and protection should have that support and protection. Those that can be supported and helped into work should be helped and supported into work, something that isn't happening under the system as it is, and those who can work should work.
I felt she was very, very soft there. It's actually the first time I've heard her speak at Prime Minister's questions, and I just felt it was trying to be nice to Labour there. I felt she was trying to be nice to Labour there, but I wish she'd be a bit more. I wish her question would be a bit more firm there, but. Like, I love the fact that so far, guys, we still haven't heard from a Conservative. Yeah.
Conundays. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Crewe in my constituency has a proud rail heritage, with Crewe Station boasting unrivalled 360-degree connectivity to all 4 corners of our country. So when the Conservative government took the decision to cancel the second leg of HS2, this was a great betrayal of my constituents, taking a sledgehammer to our town's prospects for regeneration and prosperity. So will the Prime Minister look kindly upon proposals to extend high-speed rail north of Birmingham, utilising Crewe's unique strategic value to the rail network and bringing opportunity and prosperity to the north of England?
One of the biggest problems with HS2 or reviving HS2 is because before the Conservatives were kicked out, they sold off some of the land that was going to be used for HS2. If the land hadn't been sold off, they may have been able to revive it, this Labour government. HS2 was a catastrophe. I really, really wish the project went ahead. I wish the cost did not cost as much as it did. And I feel for him, and I feel for so many others that it would have, the infrastructure that and the help that HS2 would have made would have been really, really good. It's just such a shame that so many people took advantage of taxpayers' money throughout it all.
Well, Mr. Speaker, he's right to highlight the importance of stronger and more reliable rail connections, improving journeys and driving economic growth. The party opposite utterly failed to grip delivery on HS2. Costs went through the roof, timelines were shredded, false promises and a total failure. Mr. Speaker, we're reviewing the position that we inherited and we're committed to improving rail connectivity across the north, and we've already announced £415 million extra for the key Trans-Pennine route upgrade, which will slash journey times, deliver growth and more reliable modern services for passengers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This week, the Israeli government approved a plan to officially conquer Gaza. And just yesterday, Minister Smotrich vowed that Gaza will be entirely destroyed and that the Palestinians will have to leave in great numbers to third countries. This comes at the end of the extermination of over 50,000 Palestinian men, women and children, and something at the same time simultaneous expansion of illegal settlements in the West Bank, something I witnessed with my own eyes last week. So will now the Prime Minister finally acknowledge that ethnic cleansing is underway and to end all UK military cooperation with Israel, especially the illegal provision of F-35 fighter jet parts, or will he risk make Britain complicit in war crimes and be the Prime Minister to see Britain answer at The Hague for its role in this atrocity?
Very well said there, but it's going to be interesting to see how the PM responds to this.
Well, Mr. Speaker, most of what he says is simply not right. But can I address? I do want to address the position in Gaza and the West Bank, because it is increasingly intolerable, and I am deeply concerned, particularly with the lack of aid that is getting in and the impact it's having on tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of individuals.
But you won't criticise the people responsible for holding on aid. You won't criticise the government. You won't criticise Israel. You just won't say it. You know it for a fact. You just can't say it. You're not allowed to, because you're under their thumb.
That concern is something I recently reaffirmed to the Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority, where I asserted again that a two-state solution is the only viable approach for peace. And our focus is on delivering peace for Palestinians and Israelis, returning to the ceasefire, getting the hostages out, and humanitarian aid in that is desperately needed in greater number and more quickly.
Just won't criticise Israel. He won't criticise Israel. He can't criticise Israel. The facts are literally in front of him.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a result of a relationship breakdown, my constituent Martin and his 3 children ended up homeless. They have gone from living in a hotel to temporary accommodation. Martin feels abandoned because Glasgow City Council haven't been in contact for months. Months of uncertainty has disrupted all their lives, but Martin is especially worried about the impact on his children's education. Like any father, he wants stability for his family, but the lack of social housing means they are stuck in complete limbo. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that every child, no matter where they live, deserves a safe home and access to a good education, and that in every part of the UK we need to build more social housing to end homelessness?
Yes.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm deeply sorry to hear about Martin's case and absolutely agree with her comments about every family deserving a safe and a secure home. And in England, that's why we're investing an additional £2 billion to help deliver the biggest increase in social and affordable house building in a generation. But in Scotland, it is frankly disgraceful that over 10,000 children have no fixed home to call their own after nearly 20 years of an SNP government. Mr. Speaker, that's the highest level ever and shows why Scotland desperately needs a new direction.
That because...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, I was talking to Jason, a pub landlord, and he told me he's heard a rumour about the Prime Minister. Oh. Not that one, not that one. He's heard that there is a reason why the Prime Minister hates Britain's pubs. Landlords like Jason are being battered
by Labour's jobs tax and the slashing of small business rates relief, meaning that as many as half of Britain's pubs could be closed by 2030.
This is bollocks. But go on, keep indulging us.
Why does he hate Britain's pubs? And if he doesn't, why is he taxing them into extinction?
This is where the Prime Minister, in this situation, what I would do is get a picture of him or a video of him in a pub drinking a pint, because just to stick the knife to this fucking lowlife Tory MP scum here. Excuse my French, but I really have to say that. Like, I don't accept the premise of a jobs tax. But I do accept that more needs to be done to protect our pubs. I'm certainly I have no care whatsoever, no love whatsoever to landlords out there, just for the record.
Mr. Speaker, nobody likes pubs better than me, and we support them. But, Mr. Speaker, it's the same old nonsense. They say they don't want the national insurance rise, but they don't have the courage to say they'd reverse it, because they know if they said that, they wouldn't be able to say where the money's coming from. That's how we got into the problem in the first place.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Few things are more harrowing than a parent's desperate and repeated attempts to access the mental health support their child needs. Organisations like Smile, a counselling service supporting young people in the Bathgate and Linlithgow constituency, are stepping into the breach whilst young people languish on waiting lists without the help they need. Over the last decade, Smile has been a lifeline for thousands. Will the Prime Minister join me in wishing Declan and the team at Smile a very happy 10th birthday and thank them for their invaluable work in supporting our young people and families?
Well, Mr. Speaker, can I join her and commend all the staff at Smile for their vital work. Far too many young people are left without the support that they need, and that's why we're recruiting an additional 8,500 mental health workers, providing access to specialist mental health professionals in every school, and funding talking therapies across the country to bring down waiting times and get people the care that they need.
I just want to say on Smile, like, I commemorate them and organisations out there and charities out there that do these countless work. However, as much as I appreciate and value the work of these charities and organisations out there that really make a difference to people's lives, I really, really do, it should not be something that they should have to do or something that they should need to do. It is something that the government should be doing themselves. It's really important to stress that.
After Blanche.
With the so-called EU-UK Reset Summit less than 2 weeks away, will the Prime Minister reassure the House that he will not hand over any British sovereign powers, particularly hard-won controls over our UK fishing waters, in backroom deals with Brussels?
What a stupid and pointless question.
Mr. Speaker, as she knows, we committed to resetting the relationship with the EU. We think there's a better deal that can be had. I'm not going to provide a running commentary. What I can say is this. We will act only, as we always do, in the national interest. We've secured a very good deal with India. We're talking to the US, and we're going for a reset with the EU to boost our economy.
Well said.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As you know, I'm alarmed by news that the Press Association, which assiduously covers our exchanges here, may cut back its dawn-to-dusk coverage through redundancies. Now, Hansard faithfully records our words, but it's reporters in the press gallery which bear witness to the human drama here. And no amount of AI will replace the human eyes in the press gallery. Will the Prime Minister join me and my honourable friend from Rochdale in calling on the newspapers and media outlets which fund the Press Association to hold the front page and reconsider these rash moves?
Well, Mr. Speaker, he raised a really important point. We enjoy free press and independent journalism in this country. Across the world, journalists risk their lives and lose their lives doing what they do best, independently pursuing the truth. And I've been on many occasions to award ceremonies, usually on a yearly basis, where the names of those journalists that have either lost their lives or their freedom is read out, and it's always a humbling reminder of the really important work that they do.
Final question, Mike Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, as you know, Parliament has banned charging of electric vehicles in its underground car park because of safety concerns. And yet, local authorities around the country often feel powerless to stop the construction of battery energy storage systems near people's homes, near our rivers and canals, despite 3 fires already this year. Will the Prime Minister look again at his planning and infrastructure bill to make it easier, rather than harder, for local communities to have a meaningful say?
They should have a meaningful say on this matter, but health and safety also needs to be applied to this issue as well.
Mr. Speaker, I'm really proud that on our planning and infrastructure we're taking the action that hasn't been taken for years to drive our economy. And I'll remind him it was the thing that was signalled by the OBR as the single biggest driver of growth over the coming years.
That completes Prime Minister's questions.
And that was the end of Prime Minister's questions, guys. I thought it was there were 1 or 2 very good questions. I thought they were put to the Prime Minister there. I like the fact that the Tories only had 2 questions out of all of them. We had a couple from the Lib Dems. We had 1 from the Greens. We had none from Reform, which is very good. We had 1 from an Independent, and then we had the usual some very good questions from Labour, and then some arse kissers from some Labour MPs as well there. In all, definitely insightful Prime Minister's questions. That is for sure there. Did Kemi do well? No, she got absolutely trounced on the dispatch box, especially on the net zero thing. That did not go well for her at all. It really made her look like a prat. I was kind of hoping after the local elections that they would seriously consider ousting her, but they haven't done that yet. So I guess they want to stay where they are right now, the Conservatives, and hopefully they will continue to lose more councils. And hopefully at the next local elections they get a battering there as well. Hopefully not the expense of Reform, but that's the position that they find themselves in there. Yeah, definitely not one. Definitely not one that to remember too well. But and of course, thank you for reminding me. Of course, Stephen Flynn. Obviously, it was also good to hear from Stephen Flynn. My apologies. I don't know why I forgot Stephen Flynn. He's one of my favourites actually with speakers up there. Who stands one of the favourite MPs who speaks up there as well. I really wish he would always get to speak, if I'm honest, but that's not allowed, I'm afraid, guys, which really sucks. Ed Davies' questions were like, he's it's just like he's just rinsing and repeating the same question. It's just like, you're not getting anywhere. You're not getting anywhere. Like, I get it. We want social care dealt with, but we're not getting anywhere with it. So, I don't know, guys. I don't know. Right, so I am done here with Prime Minister's questions. I will be back tonight at 8 p.m. for the Snowflake Watch. We will probably cover some things on Trump and America as well as other things in the UK. We might even look at things in Kashmir as well. I don't have too much knowledge about the history of it, so but I may cover some videos with regards to the situation there, because it is a very serious situation indeed. So if you want to join me tonight at 8 p.m. for the Snowflake Watch, do feel free to join me for that. If you can't make tonight's show, I will be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for the Good Morning with Reganelite. I don't know if I'll get any videos, main videos done today, because I do have some other work that I need to get done today. But I want to say thank you, Alistair, here, for the gifted memberships and the super chats today. Much appreciated. Really appreciate it for this live stream. Let me know what you guys thought of Prime Minister's questions down in the main comments below. And whatever you guys' plans are, have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves as always. But just before I go, if you haven't already, hit that like button, share it across social media, subscribe if you haven't already. Do check out the Patreon and Rumble content for exclusive content on those platforms. And if you want to financially support me, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. And thank you all once again so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.